Netflix Cowboy Bebop. I never seen Cowboy Bebop, saw a few clips and episodes growing up as a whole, the anime. And I watched it before watching the Netflix live adaptation of it. And the anime I thought was really good. I enjoyed it. The artwork animation was solid. And the one thing that bothered me about the anime was that I was just taken back because I was expecting it to be more like each episode was leading to another episode, have arcs. Like the 26 episode series had arcs within the 26 episodes. It did. It was more like these bounty of the week per se, per episode. Some episodes better than the other. The live action took that part that I had an issue with in the anime and tried to mix it in with the episodes from the anime, and it just didn't work. And on this episode, when we break down series review, I am going to review the live action Cowboy Bebop, and it pains me to do so. What's up, world? Welcome to the episode we break down. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to the episode we break down series review. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's movie breakdowns? Movie review series, we look at new and old movies, give them a grade A through F, plus and minuses do count. And there's a TV show, anime, movie series, whatever case, whatever it is, when we review, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to the best I can. Also Patreon/Ali Zakka for $2 a month. You get to jump in front of everybody, get your review out, wait before it comes out on Facebook and YouTube. You also get trailer reaction, trailer reviews, and much more thoughts and comments on the Patreon. So I appreciate you guys' love and support. Thank you guys so much for everything, for the Patreon, for watching this series, for the subscriptions, the likes, the comments, all of it. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Now, let's go ahead and get into 2021's Netflix adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. This first section is going to be non-spoiler. I really don't want to spoil the season if you haven't seen it. I think everybody should give their own thoughts and opinions on it and definitely go watch it to get an idea of it. So this first section is going to be non-spoiler. Then the second half is going to be spoiler filled because there's things I want to talk about that I wish either they would have left it out or waited for the second season or whatever the case may be, or maybe did it a little bit better, because when you hit certain things in the TV series, not the anime, but the TV series, it doesn't make sense, and you're just like, oh, wait a minute, Alright, so what is Cowboy Bebop about? It is about a group of bounty hunters who try to cut bounties on people, and each episode has their little different adventures, and also a series about trying to find yourself and confronting your past. That is Cowboy Bebop in a nutshell. The things that I like the main characters. I like Spike, Jet, and Faye. I like them. I like them all in the live action adaptation. Even though some character aspect and characteristics have been changed a little bit from the anime, it still worked for me for this TV series. Like, I feel like if you never seen Cowboy Bebop the anime, you wouldn't have a problem with the characters on screen and the actors and actresses playing those characters. I think they do a really great job, and I think the acting in this show is amazing. I think everybody's giving their 10%, 110% plus, and they're going all in. Like, I do definitely can tell that this cast is definitely doing it. They really are putting their effort and time into these characters, and you can see it. You can definitely see it. Like Mustafa Shakir, who plays Jet, I think he's phenomenal at Jet and bringing Jet to life properly. Daniela Pineda, who plays Faye, I think she's doing a great job putting this version of Faye on the big screen. And also John Cho, who plays Spike, I think he does Spike well too. Like, I have no problems with the actors and actresses. I think they did great, and I think the characters for this series, what they're putting out there, what the writers have for these characters, are also solid. I do like that. Also, I like episode 5, 6, and 7 of the TV show. I think there's certain episodes that really hit hard, and they do certain things that, like, man, you know, it's kind of like the anime or legit pull from the anime. It is still, it hits the spot. Like, there are bits and pieces of the show that I like, and set pieces and props that work really, really well, and storylines that work really, really well. I think written well for the live action. Now, I like that. The music is still solid. I still like the music. But the dislikes here, and I had to pull up a list here on my phone, because the dislikes is way, way more, sadly. The dialogue. I get that some of the dialogue is pulled directly from the anime, and in the 90s that worked, but in 2021, if this would be like a modern version of, you know, Cowboy Bebop, then the dialogue, the way they've written the dialogue for certain characters, especially Faye, her lines were not the best, and the quips and the not even the jokes, but the shots and the cussing that she threw at characters just sound like a middle schooler trying to cuss. Matter of fact, a best way to put it, if you've seen the movie I, Robot, and Will Smith tells Shia LaBeouf characters, stop cussing because you're not good at it, Faye's lines were like that. They were really bad, and when it came to cussing and like insults, it just did not sound right, and it just sounded off, and it's like nobody talks like that. Another thing with it, the dialogue and the way the camera angles, the Dutch angles in certain settings and scenes also, because there's certain scenes that I really like, and certain like moments like that's definitely a screensaver. That's definitely something you'll put on a poster. But then there's other times where the characters just talking, and remind me of early Power Rangers, Big Bag Beetleborgs, early like WB TV shows or the CW shows, where it just looked off. It did not look like, it definitely looked like it could have been made in the year 2002, 2001. Like, as far as the props for characters just sitting down, giving exposition, talking, and just talking to each other. It really looked like it was watching a show from early 2000s, and in the early 2000s it would have worked. It would have been fine. But it's 2021, and it didn't work at all. Like, it was tough to watch at certain points. I'm just like, why are you doing this angle? Why do you have this set up like this? Why do you have the lighting like this? Like, this is 2021. This is not a, you know, 2001 Buffy the Vampire Slayer or, you know, Smallville. The design and setup and the camera angles and lighting definitely don't need to reflect that. It really did look like an early 2000s setup piece. And I guess for some people that will work. I think if you've never seen Cowboy Bebop, and watch the live action version, I think you will be okay with this. I think you'll be like, fine, this works for me. And the other thing you might not like is the dialogue. And another thing that I didn't like with this live action adaptation is the storyline and how they try to mix the episodes from the anime in with this story with Julia and Vicious. It just did not work. Either you do two things. You either do a live action remake and step for step, beat for beat of what you're adapting, whatever it is you're doing. If you're gonna make a copy, do it beat for beat. Or you change it completely, but leave some aspects from the original in it. For example, like Spider-Man, where in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Peter Parker shoots web out of his body. Spider-Man in the comic books, and there are certain comics where he does shoot web out of his body, but majority of the time Spider-Man uses web shooters that he creates. Sam Raimi was just like, no way, he's gonna shoot out his body. And it worked. But the storyline for that, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, is completely different a little bit from how it actually plays out in the comic books. They put certain episodes or certain comics into it, or certain storylines into that movie and made it flow well. You could have done that with Cowboy Bebop. You could have did one of these serialized and have each episode based off each other, have it completely different from the anime. Don't try to take episode 1 from the anime but then wrap in Vicious and Julia. No, you could just had it flowed out completely differently and be more about Vicious and Julia, and not take, well, there's the episode with the corgi and the guy running, so we should do that. No, you don't have to mix the two together. You can keep them separate, because when you do that, it's a tonal shift. Completely different tonal shift from what's going on. Episode 7 is a good one to talk about, because I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened, but when you go from the crew, which had a completely different tone of what's going on, more fun, comical, kind of a little adventurous, to switch to the Vicious storyline, you're just like, it's completely flipped. But then they just to it in the middle of the episode, and they switch back to what the crew is doing. They go back to Vicious, and it's completely two different tone shifts that you're just like, man, this is not the greatest way to switch storylines. Either you have, like I said before, the whole Vicious storyline and it's completely different from the anime, or you do the exact anime and don't try to add in extra flair to tell two different styles of story. That's what just didn't work for me when it came to Cowboy Bebop. I know that people try to do it in a way to, or I guess Netflix try to do it in a way to keep it like today, where everything you watch, you binge it at once. They want keeps serialization and keep the story continue off of each other. I get that, but when you do that, you have to have a new story. You just can't take exact episodes, the same exact model from the first one, and then try to sprinkle your stuff into it, because there's a reason why the episode is made that way. And for you to try like, well, let's mix it up a little bit, it really doesn't work. It's like watching an episode of SpongeBob, but then they're saying like, well, we want this episode of SpongeBob to be like the episode before and the episode before, so instead of just random stories, we're just going to have those random stories, but then let's add a little bit layer of what Mr. Krabs is doing in the background that might sink the Krusty Krab. Like, it's not necessary. Or watching the episode of The Office where each individual episode is its own different story, where you're like, yeah, but let's have Michael do something in the background where it actually completely shifts and he goes off and be a crime syndicate dude and he's actually working the underground, but then goes back to the job the next day and it's more funny, comical, straight edge, but then let's go back to, like, it doesn't work that way. Either you keep the episodes the same and do those same exact bits, and people be like, okay, it's fine, it's the same exact thing, just cool seeing it remade live action. Or you do something completely different and don't try to remake the beat for beat of the original. They really they want to do both, and doing both just doesn't work. It does not. Any other thoughts before I go ahead and get into the cast and crew? No. Netflix did cancel the series, which is very unfortunate. I was looking forward to seeing different characters getting portrayed on a new season, and maybe see they kind of cleaned it out, and maybe, because it's 26 episodes in the anime, but if they went ahead and exhausted all the episodes they wanted to exhaust and then tried to build its own storyline in season 2, I would have loved to see that, but we won't get to see that anymore. Maybe they might change their mind here the next 6 months to a year, but at this point in time, we're not getting a season 2 of the live action anime, live action adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. But I already talked about the characters. John Cho, who plays Spike Spiegel, I think Cho does a great job being Spike, and the character of Spike Spiegel in the live action, it's just like his calm, laid-back character, but then as the season goes on, he does become more serious, which it kind of threw me off, because Spike's character is a laid-back character in the anime, but he's not that laid back as the season progresses, and I get that. He's dealing with his past, and his past is more of a serious topic for him, so he's getting serious. But in the first couple episodes, when you see John Cho as Spike and he's being Spike and Spike's character is written well, it's great. Mustafa Shakir, who played Jet Black is phenomenal in this live action. He's a dad who has a daughter that he also had a wife that he got divorced from because of a setup, and he just want to be a good father, and he's hanging out with Spike Spiegel, and they've been together for 3 years and going on these adventures, but at the end of the day, he's still trying to put his daughters first no matter what. And Mustafa Shakir does a great job being Spike. Like, he legit matches Spike from the anime. Like, solid. I thought it was a good job for Mustafa Shakir with Jet. Daniela, I want to just call it Danielle, but Daniela Pineda, who played Faye Valentine. Like I said, Daniela Pineda does a great job being Faye in the live action. I think this live action Faye, which is different from the anime, is still a good Faye. I think her storyline and trying to figure out who she is solid, and I think Daniela Pineda brings her together. The one thing, I brings her to the big screen or the little screen just as good as everybody else. The one thing I did like is, like, when the crew was together and them working together, I did like that, or them hanging out and just communicating. It worked, and you get to see, like, the interaction between the three of them. I think it's solid. Which I still wish we got more of that than the other two characters. Elena Satane, who played Julia. Elena does great with her character, and I feel like she did a good job directing, acting the way she's directed. It's just the written version of Julia in the live action just doesn't work as well. They try to, I guess I'll talk more about this in spoilers, but they really had her built a certain way, and then writing was like, screw that. And you're just like, okay, sure, if you want to go that route. And then Alex Hassel, who played Vicious. Alex Hassel was directed a certain way to have Vicious portrayed, and the writing for Vicious does not work for the live action adaptation. It's a shame. As far as Alex Hassel being the character he is, I think Alex Hassel portrayed Vicious in a good, like, for the live action, he portrayed Vicious the way he should have been directed for this live action, for the story they're trying to tell. I think Alex Hassel did a good job being the fake confident character who act like he's big and bad, but at the end of the day he's kind of a wimp. And I think Alex Hassel brought that Vicious to life. I did not like the live action Vicious. It just didn't work for me. Like, it just didn't. The storyline for him, the background for him, like, what he was doing, it just didn't work. Now, I think because they try to add the episodes together, so, like, things happen in episode 1, and then episode 2, there's different stuff with Vicious in episode 3, and you're just like, I just don't care. It's kind of hard to describe without trying to spoil anything, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work for Vicious. It literally didn't. And I think if you could have took Vicious out of season 1 and made him more of a background character, I think it could have worked a lot better. It really did. It made Vicious be the big bad in season 2, but it doesn't work for season 1. Not at all. Not at all. I'll talk more about that in the spoilers, though. Any other thoughts? Nah, I think I laid it out right there. Is this a season you should watch? I think if you've never seen Cowboy Bebop, you'll be okay with this. You will be okay with this. Matter of fact, there was a lot of times where I was watching, episode, like I said, 5, 6, and 7. I really found myself enjoying it. I found myself, like, getting invested into the characters and the storyline. It's just, the ending of it also is like left a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't know if you I think the writing of it really hurts it. So I'm not sure if you watch this, you might like it, but you also might not. it's one of those weird in-betweens. Grading time. I'm gonna grade, and before I get in grade time, I don't think I even told you should you watch it or not. I don't know. I don't think you should watch. It sucks. I don't think you should watch it. Should you binge it? Maybe that's the way I should do for the series. Should you binge Cowboy Bebop? It's not binge worthy. So no, you can watch it, but it's not really binge worthy. I think that's what I want to go with. Now, should you watch it? Is it binge worthy? It's not. It's like not every episode gonna have you on your feet. Not every episode gonna have you intrigued. Not every episode gonna be like, oh man, that's a cool episode. That's a good episode. You're gonna watch it and be like, okay, that was fun, but yeah. So it's not binge worthy. Let's put it that way. I'm gonna do that different going forward. So any TV shows or series will go as if it's binge worthy versus should you watch on a Friday night because, or do you need to spend your Friday night watching this? No, it's not Friday night worthy. It's not binge worthy. Alright, grading time. I'm going to grade the live action version of Cowboy Bebop a D+. It's a D+ for me. The reason why, and there's stuff in here that I really enjoyed and appreciated. The good stuff, like I mentioned, the main 3 characters, I think it's solid. The music is good. There's certain moments in certain episodes I enjoyed. But at the end of the day, the writing for the anime, or for the live action, just doesn't work. Them trying to stay too true to the anime, but they also add a little flair, but then change it completely, doesn't work as well. In the final written part of it, where you're just like, that's where you're going? Nah, that doesn't work either. Like, the writing and the dialogue just kills this show for me, and that's sad, because I was excited for it when it came out. I'm not a fan of the series at all. I enjoy Cowboy Bebop the anime, but it sucks. I kind of want to watch a season 2 to see maybe they would do better. Maybe they would do better. Like, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. It's a D+ for me. It's a D+. It really is. I'm going to talk about the rest of it in the spoilers section, but if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, go watch it. If you have, please put your thoughts in the comment section below. Other than that, see you guys in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. And keep being awesome. And spoilers coming up here in 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, let's go and get into the spoilers section of the live action Cowboy Bebop here. Before I get into everything else, and this is only a 5-minute clip at the end of season 1, which is like a cliffhanger for season 2, it's Ed showing up. I think Ed was great. I thought Ed was spot on. Because Ed in the anime, when she got introduced, it like changes the tone of the whole season of the series. Like, it went from like just kind of like, okay, cool, fun, kind of collective, a little bit of jokes here, to like comedy and wowza, and you're just like, oh my gosh, she's over the top. Like, Ed is such an energetic burst of like energy to the live action, and I think Ed, the person who portrayed Ed in that 5-minute clip was amazing. I think she did everything she was directed to do, and she did everything to make Ed seem just as over top and energetic and goofy and crazy and silly, just how it is in the anime. And I think that was solid. So good for them. Like, good job for them. And the rest of the community who was like, oh, Ed is cringeworthy. You not watch the live act, you not watch the anime. Ed is that character. So leave her alone, please, because some of y'all who's going in on that character, who's going in on the actress, was not necessary. And leave her alone. I know I'm a no-name YouTuber here, but if somebody hears this and or whoever come across this and you hear this and you've seen other people's thoughts on that, it was fine, okay? It was fine. You can go watch the clip. It is fine. If you've seen the anime, you'll understand like that works. So good job to Ed there. Other things that bothered me though, as far as spoilers, is episode 9. It really bugged me a lot because they built up Vicious and Julia is married to Vicious, or is dating Vicious in the live action version. They're together and Vicious is pretty much doing the syndicate's pawn, like his father's head of the syndicate, and Vicious kind of doing their pawn, and Spike is kind of messing with Vicious throughout the series, and Vicious is like, oh, Spike is alive. And Julia finds out that Spike is alive, and Julia trying to get out of Vicious' hair, and this whole storyline was just, it's not great. But they kept building up like Vicious and Spike, who is fearless, because when he was in a syndicate, had this long backstory together. And Spike was dating Julia and been with Julia all this time, the whole time. And Vicious took Julia from Spike. No, when you get to episode 9 and it reveals the backstory on Spike, Vicious, and Julia, which this whole season's been building up on, like any other plot that wasn't the actual readaptation of the anime, or the remake of the anime, it was legit Spike's story. And when you reveal Spike's story, and this is where bad writing does not work at all, this is your chance to be like, this is our original content we're adding to this, and we're just building on the storyline that we took from the anime. You know, Vicious and Julia not really much in the anime that much. Spike steals Julia from Vicious. Vicious was dating Julia, and granted, being a horrible boyfriend or just in the talking phase, where the case may be, but being a horrible guy, like she wanted to dance, and Vicious like, I don't give a care about the dancing and stuff like that. I'm upset because the syndicate doesn't understand my ways. Alright, bro, whatever. You're at a club right now. Go dance, have fun with your girl who came to talk to you. Spike ended up dating or dancing with her, and then within the same night ended up hooking up with her because Vicious decided to fight a guy, and Spike goes back to Julia's place and they get it on. And so I was like, so Spike, you knew your brother, who you said is your brother, was talking to this girl, and you decided to say, screw the rules, I'm gonna go sleep with her this night of, and then maybe the next night, because the next day, the repercussion of what Vicious and Spike did plays out. What Vicious did, not really Spike, but what Vicious did plays out, and Spike has to kill Vicious, but he chose not to and decided to attack the syndicate and the rival syndicate, and then decide to shoot a young girl in her back who was running away for some reason. He told her, you didn't see anything, shoots her, which would be like his descent to darkness. He gave up to the dark side. But then the next day it's like, I'm out of this. And it was like, we'll spend it 2 days, and he's like, Julie, you should run away with me. We should escape together. And I'm like, bro, you just met her 2 nights ago, and you talk about you didn't let yourself feel anything until you met her. You just met her. You betrayed your own brother that you grew up with for a girl you just met, and then you can't get over her for a 2-night thing for the next 3 years. So this whole thing is building up to make like Julia and Spike had this long backstory, and that they was together for such a long time. Like, if they even just made it a little bit better where Vicious, and then Vicious somehow get back with Julia. I don't know how. It just happens. Whatever. In episode 10, Julia and Vicious Vicious finally fight Spike again, and Spike pretty much beat Vicious, and Julia walks in, shoots Vicious, and then turns around and like, I now want the throne, I want the syndicate, which the whole season you was like, I want to get out, I don't want to be a part of this. But she was like, well, now you killed your father, and now you're the weakest, you're the only person ahead of it, and you're the weakest link, I'm about to take you out too. You're like, huh? What? Where does character flip come from? And then you get mad at Spike because Spike say he wants out the life. He been wants out the life. He's been out the life for 3 years. He got dragged back into it because he thought you was alive. He kept looking for you. In that same episode 10, Jet and Spike gets into it. So Spike say he wasn't trying to tell Jet who he was because Jet he was an ex-cop and he wouldn't appreciate that Spike was part of the syndicate. Okay, sure. The syndicate thought Spike was dead for 3 years. So what the fact that he was an ex-syndicate member had to do with the fact that he's been teaming with you for 3 years, and that you and Spike had this bond, but you about to throw it all away because he's a syndicate member, an ex-syndicate member. Whatever, Jet. Somebody who's talking about family and keeping everybody together. The writing for characters just did not make sense at all in certain spots of this TV show that really bugged me. other than that, everything else I talked about was, you know, in the non-spoiler section. But that last episode 9 to episode 10 really bugged me and just left a bad taste in my mouth. And that's the whole, like, I'm going to have a different story from the anime, but also want to keep elements in from the anime. So I'm going to redo the same things from the anime, but then let's go on our own story. But when you go on your own story, you just don't do it right. Like, you had a chance of written that out where, one, Spike should never betray Vicious. Julia and Vicious could have talked to each other first, and then they got into it and they broke up. And Julia's kind of like off her own. Spike bumps into Julia, or maybe Spike knew that Vicious was dating Julia, and they go out and just like, oh, you know, this is happening. Oh shoot, I guess we're doing a thing. But then Spike go tell Vicious like, hey, I know y'all not together. I know y'all been broken up for a while here, but I actually started talking to Julia. Like, Vicious seemed like he was cool with it. Like, cause the way this character is, Vicious is not a threatening guy. He just a rich, pretty boy. So his dad gave him everything, and Vicious would have been cool. I think he would have been cool with that. The fact that he's upset is because Spike betrayed him by leaving the syndicate. He felt like that by leaving the syndicate, he betrayed Vicious, which, sure, okay. Like, then why are you trying to kill him? And to me, it was just, the way they written that out just really does not work. The rest of it, the dialogue, it's not the greatest. Faye's storyline is still solid. Like, the moment in the anime, in the live adaptation, where she sees her backstory and talking to herself, the little kid, who's a video of her talking to herself, still hits me here. I think that's such a cool moment, and it really like hits my heart there. So that's fine. And Daniela Pineda actually does the tear for Faye, where like she goes down her cheek. And I thought, like, that's solid. That is some solid stuff. Other than that, it reminds me of 1990s, early 2000s, 2001, 2002 CW or WB TV show, like a lot of like Smallville, but like early Smallville. Smallville's actually pretty good though. But like that kind of stuff, the Flash, just the design and set pieces of it, and the writing, Power Rangers, Big Bad Beetleborgs. Like, that's what this reminds me of. But other than that, that's it for spoilers section. I can't think of anything else. Jet having a daughter, that's fine. The storyline was good for Jet. It's just really the actual storyline they had, the B plot in the show, that really like irked me. It was for like a C. I had it at a C minus at one point, and then as the show progressed, and then the ending of it gave me a D plus, and I was like, this is, the writing for this is whew. If you guys seen the live action Cowboy Bebop, what did you think? That's my thoughts on the spoiler section. Other than that, see you guys next episode, movie breakdown, series review, and keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode movie breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all, and keep being awesome.